To me, it was the end. The Hezbollah was destined to stay a totalitarian regime rather than being democratic. This way, it would stay as a militia for the time to come. My world was shattered as well because to me, it was the time to move away from the party. I turned that page and walked away. My name is Rami Ollaik. I'm 40 years old. I broke the pact of silence I made with Hezbollah 17 years ago by writing a book to tell my story. At the beginning, rumors made me an apostate, then an American agent, and then, for some, an undercover Hezbollah operative. I was even subject to a roadside bomb threat. In the face of rumors, I was denied the benefit of the doubt and kept in isolation. Yeah, I wanted to call you personally to invite you to my book signing, the new book, Under the Green Waters, the Arabic version. وصلك شيء مني ايميل بالنسبة للانفيتيشن على البوك سايننج, the new book signing. أنا يمكن على الفيسبوك وعلى الإيميل عرفت عن الكتاب الجديد تبعي, مش هيك ولا بعد؟ It's like on Wednesday at 6 o'clock, Librairie Antoine, the Beyrouth Souks branch. All right, I'll send you the invitation now. Hope to see you there. Thank you. Bye. Bye. The issue, I believe, is beyond Hezbollah seizing power in Lebanon. It is not only about Hezbollah or Lebanon. It is about the Iranian shaping of the Middle East through the country's most influential outlawed international organization, Hezbollah. I was 11 or 12. These action images are the best treat for a kid to embrace him and to include him in his life and feel very drawn to them. The mosque became the recruitment center, and so the sheikh became the commander. They took their toll over my entire childhood. Eyes that had seen the whole transcendence of the conflict into the playground of heaven and hell, the new tools for measuring piety, the two divine icons for swaying simple minds and fating confused souls to the shadows of oblivion. You finish school and you go straight to the mosque. And you, not only do you spend like 10 minutes or 15 minutes praying, but you end up like spending hours and hours in the mosque, and with the feeling that this is your safe haven, this is your sanctuary. You start losing on other things that you do normally as a kid, like playing with the neighborhood kids. It just kind of goes out of your lifestyle. All goes, the compass goes according to the grand political agenda of Iran. And then you get these gradually, okay, building up inside of you. All falls under jihad, you know? And then you feel the urge that you are the one. Other Muslims, basically, they let go of the cause and they drowned in sin. And you are the purest, this group, that God has commissioned the role of protecting Islam. Before you go to the military training, you are already prepared psychologically to accept death and embrace death as martyrdom. Because this is in the very teachings of Islam and of the Shia Islam specifically. So when you go there, you consider yourself to be of the few select if you're lucky enough to die during the cause. The purpose of these sessions was to toughen your person to become more ready for military action. One of those training sessions at a camp that I stayed at for 10 days, in the middle of that, I was surprised to be called to meet my parents at the entrance of the camp. And I was very furious, like, what are you doing here? And my mom was crying, and my dad even cried, and they wanted me to go back to school, to take me back with them. I was 13, and I refused. I was supposed to be a military person, and parents and all these sentiments, they don't count.
هلا أنا كنتش محجبة. كان يحس يقول لي ماما أنا بستحي إنه أنت تطلعي معي بالسيارة وأنا مش محجب، أنت مش محجبة. مع العلم قل له يا ماما أنا بهمني الحجاب الداخلي قبل الحجاب الخارجي. يكون في نوع من الوسوسة، ما هي الوسوسة من عمل الشيطان. كان يمكن إذا بده يسلم على مسيحي يحس إنه في نجاة.
The tensions with my family was at their peak, and I was 14. That's when I had a firm stand against my dad. What was on my mind has to be done.
في مشروع بحط فيه، كان يتضايق كتير رامي، وكان مرة حط في قنينة ويسكي كبة بالمجلة. اجا بيو وين؟ قال له أنا كبيتها. فإنه كيف ليش بتكبها وليش كذا؟ قال له ممنوع وكذا محرم. وصار شغل، يعني صار شغلي إنه يقدم على هالشي، يبادر من حاله إنه هيدا غلط لازم أعمل، أنا ما في.
I just can't forget the tears of my dad, my mom, my brothers and sister. and then going through that path until it just normalizes at some point. And then now again, I go with my new life, and this it just left him under shock. In a point like, you wanted us to be where we are now. Now you wanted us to go back where we were. It's really hard in such a society. And again, it's tears and suffering that comes with that package.
وهلا بعمل لك المساحة. لا أنا زدت عليها الخر والكمون والنعنع والبصل، بس بعرفك بتحب المساحة. فأعمل لك أنا مساحة ماما، خليك تضل تحب.
يعني شو اللي بتحب هالبلاد وكذا؟ بحب بكره هالبلاد أو شيء، شو هالفكرة هاي؟ شو بك؟
بعدك بتحب هالبلاد وبتحب تقاليدها.
طبعا بحب تقاليدها
طبعا، ما عندي شك يا ماما، ما عندي شك حبيبي. أنا بكيت اليوم.
ماما حبيبتي،
أنا بكيت
يا ماما. أنا عارف
ما بقدر، يعني بحس حالي بدي أضحك، بدي أنبسط، بحس في شيء عم يلبس لي على راسي. أنا بعرف وصل رسالتي للعالم كله بطريقة حضارية، إنه ما يعني ما انأذى أنا.
ما تخافي من الشركات حضارية، مش هيك؟
ايه
أنا شو عم بعمل؟
بعرف الحضارة، بعرف يا ماما.
هذا شو في أسلوب حضاري أكثر من هيك؟
لا ما عندي شك، بس المهم إنه
كثار من الناس وكثار مثلي ما جهدنا وما ضحينا لننتهي فيتين بالسياسة الإقليمية والدولية ونروح نقتل بسوريا مع ديكتاتور ضد المظلوم. مستحيل، هذا مش هذا روح المقاومة انفقدت، روحها انفقد.
طيب صوتك إذا بتريد وطي صوتك الحيطان إلى دينك.
حبب إصبعي بدنا نرفع الصوت، ما حداش عم برد. ماما هذا نقاشي مش أنا وياك، بتعرفي هذا نقاش جوات الحزب عم بيصير.
طب ما هل عم بيصلحوا ماما؟ انت عم صلحت خطواتك من كذا سنه، هن كمان في اشياء تصلح.
ماما التصليح شو بيكون؟ التصليح بيكون فعلي
ماما،
مش التصليح بيكون حط كريم على الوجه
حبيبي
من جوا.
فيك
كل
تقول لي
الوسخ بعده
كلمه.
موجود. انا كنتش هناك،
لك يا
كنت
ماما
هناك
ايه؟
مش هيك؟
روق علي،
وعشتهم هون ورهبت العالم وهولت على العالم، بعرفهم. ماما ما فيك تشرحي لي وتقنعيني. انا عشتهم، انا عملتهم، انا مارستهم على الاخرين. اللي هلا عم يمارسوه انا كنت مارسه، انا كنت بقلبه، انا كنت بس. انا شفتي عبستي كيف كانت، شفتي كيف نظرتي للعالم، شفتي المسيحي طلعت عليه، شفتي غيره.
هو كنت ولد يا ماما.
تربية مين؟ ماما تربية مين كنت؟
يا ماما
تربية مين؟
سكروا لي هالباب، الله يخليكم عقارم. عندي عقارم. هيدا الشباك. أنا بيهمني سلامتك، بيهمني فكرك، وأنا مؤمنة، بس ما بدي تتعرض لخطر، لأنه أنا لو كنوز الدنيا بيعطوا لي إياها ما بعيني. فهمت؟ إيه ما تخلينيش عن جد وصحيح.
زلمة عندي
خلاص
فكر وعندي ثورة، شو بدي أعمل؟
أنا كتبت لك رسالة ماما وعبرت عن يا فلذة كبدي ويا نور عيني ويا حبيب أمه، كما كان يقول أباك رحمه الله. هل هدأت ثورتك وعقلنت تصرفك لتهدأ أعصابي ويزول قلقي عليك أولا ما علينا جميعا. رحل عني.
تعبت.
ماما انت بعدك لانك مش مجرب الاولاد، بتشوف قديش هن عزيزين وقديش هن.
ما بفهم، بس ما فيك
ما مكبلك يا ماما، انا معطيتك اللي بدك اياه وعلمتكم على الحريه وعلى ما في شيء، يعني اذا سقطتوا معلمتكم انه ما السقوط ما يوقف حاجز قدامكم.
يا حبيبتي حياتي،
انطلقوا من جديد وروحوا. هي سياستي انا
خلص حياتي هذا المعنى. حياتي هيك، حياتي ماشي وانا اخترتها هيك وبدي اعيشها هيك. شوفي كيف.
خلص
Coming to this place always brings back a lot of memories. When I was little, coming with my dad and checking all these beehives. I grew up with that, dealing with the bees of the South, with the duality that I had to deal with. It's the duality of sweet pain. You get the honey and you get the stings. And it's very important, I believe, to strike a balance between these two, the pain factor and the sweetness factor. And I believe the people of the South has to restore this balance after they've been inflicting a lot of pain on themselves.
هذا الكفوف كتير كلهم عم بفوتوا عم بينفضوا ايه بيريحوا بالشغل بس لحظة شوي.
Peaceful bees, like the ones in Beyrouth, are more productive because they sting less. More stings means more deaths, because when a bee stings, she dies. I wonder if this over-defensiveness of the bees in the South is the case that we have with Hezbollah, justifying in their own way their over-defensiveness. I grew up proudly in the uniform of the resistance. But what are we resisting? What's being stolen from us? Our sovereignty? Our nation? We don't have a nation.
علمتنا أن من الضعف يمكن أن نصنع قوة وأن الاستكبار العالمي مهما تعالى يمكن توجيه ضربات قاسية إليه.
I was 14. I used to be engaged to do my missions with the military, and along the course I started losing people on continuous basis, and every month I used to hear of people that I saw in the mosque, acquaintances, friends dying along the way. Those were people that I knew really well, and some of them were really close, and I used to feel so sad that we lost them. But again, it was the cause that was overwhelming and washing away all sad sentiments. I really was surprised how I, myself, found it very normal to die and even embraced death, and I was pushing towards being one of those select martyrs.
بناء للأوامر الصادرة من قائد القوات المسلحة في حزب الله نمضي نفجر أجسادنا نزلزل الأرض تحت أقدام أعدائنا أمريكا وإسرائيل. لبيك يا حزب الله، لبيك يا رسول الله. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد.
death hill. There was like a small valley in between, and the hill was exposed. Militarily, it was not a good sight, but Hezbollah had to take it to have a front line. People died, and I didn't know. It was bombed, people died, they took them away from the other half of the hill, and we didn't know. The leaders of the military area there, they weren't telling other Hezbollah recruits that was going on, so they won't freak out. Mortar shells hit just the tip of the tunnel that I was lying down in, and it kind of like exploded and buried me with all the debris. And even my colleague there, he just stepped on me because I was totally buried, you know, and there was a big rock that fell on my head and injured me. I thought I was dead, you know, and I was waiting for those afterworld scenes to come because I was buried. And imagine, like, I didn't know I was buried. I thought, like, that's the end. And so at some point, I shaked my arm, and it's like, oh, it's shaking, I'm still there. And I rose from underneath the debris, and I was covered with blood. And they still like firing mortar shells, but I didn't care. I just ran out of the hill and all the way back, you know, running. Looking back at these moments, I really was surprised how I, myself, found it very normal to die and even embraced death, and I was pushing towards being one of those select martyrs. Whereas now I'm totally on the opposite front, embracing life and trying to live it to the fullest. Area a block away from where I live in Ashrafiyya now. That was supposed to be a fully secured area. Assassinating Wissam al-Hassan, I could imagine who was pulling the trigger. This incident, it put me back again into this vicious circle of fear and worries. I'm trying to not leave a trace. I'm trying to not leave a pattern of behavior that would make it easier for those who might be tackling or tracing me, not to be an easy target for them. Well, you might say, well, if they want to get you, they will get you. At least, let me not make it easier for them.
فاضي؟ فري؟ بدي اروح تاكسي على الأيوبي، على البحر الأيوبي تاكسي $10. مش فاضي؟ بدك أكتر ولا مش فاضي أنت؟
هي قليلة يعني
20,000 على البحر، على العين المريسي مش على الحمراء. اوكي.
The safest way is to take a random cab. I have my car. I left it in the parking because it can be easily traced or bugged, you know. And then I took off the battery of my phone just to also if it's bugged, so I wouldn't be traced. And that's the best way to do away with all electronics and anything that might allow those who bug you to trace you. And I took the emergency phone just in case. I haven't used it before. It's a new line. And just in case anything wrong happens, I would have a means of communication.
يعطيك العافية شكرا.
I had been a fervent militant for the Party of God and had been its student representative at AUB. But I had slowly started to accept the opinions of the others as being valid. The party's way was no longer the only way. I was opening up to dialogue. A big part of my metamorphosis was going to happen in AUB. This is an American ground in my head, and that's a leading front to go into confrontation with the Americans. So the AUB had its reputation as a nest for the US government agents, especially the CIA. I recall that there were talks about William Buckley. He was a regular Jaffet Library staff member. He was killed on campus, and he was known to be the CIA head in the operations in the Middle East. So AUB had all this reputation, which boosted my intentions to take the battle to its highest levels on AUB campus. So I'm carrying all this heritage to the American University to come and practice what I believe in and go straight into confrontation with the source of evil and anti-jihad and anti-Islam societies. So I started like recruiting people and students and working hard for a full year just to create a sufficient student body with Hezbollah to be able to take the battle to the level I was seeing. And that was what happened. The Hezbollah student body at AUB was in control, basically, over most of the student activities, clubs, campus, to the point that even student couples were forbidden to just kiss each other. We even sprayed the green oval just not to have a place for couples to lay down or kiss or do any indecent, amorous, intimate behavior. So we took it to the fullest. Even at Ashura, we used to cover all the trees with black and with posters about Ashura and Hezbollah. And this gave me a lot of popularity in addition to what I accumulated before with Hezbollah. And it came to the point that there was the big incident, a life changer, the incidents of 1994.
الطلاب مستعدين كطلاب جامعة أمريكية بلشوا يد وحدة ويد وحدة، هل مستعدين تكملوا؟
That was when I took the thing with Hezbollah students behind me to the level of defying the administration and demanding the cancellation of the 10% tuition increase. The 1994 events at AUB were basically the life changer, the turning point of my life. It was the first time where I saw a different cause from the Shia cause that was led by Hezbollah, cause that united people from different backgrounds, political and religious, Christians, Druze, Muslims, under one flag. It had this nationalistic and uniting spirit, and people they sacrificed under that flag, And that was new to me because I believed that it had to be religious and had to be blessed by the Shia doctrines and by Hezbollah representing these doctrines. And that left a lot of traces. It moved me deeply inside. Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah, who sent the deputy Mohammed Berjawi with his car to go straight to where I was and to give me a religious order. If you don't get out of AUB now, the Syrians will put their hands on you. They're very angry at you. But then I was really confused. Obeying Nasrallah's orders, the top person of the party, or staying with the students that I took to that level. I chose to stand with the students because it was a matter of integrity for me. And that was a first time when I chose the interest of the students that I brought together over the interest of the party or over the directives of the party. And basically, I learned that the police forces would go and storm the students with the stocks of the rifles, and it would be a very violent scene. I knew before that, but I chose to stay. The popularity that I gained because of those events was my passport to open wide all doors of Hezbollah's top offices, where I was received as a victor and as a representative of all those voices within Hezbollah.
هات لنشوف.
أنا قريتهم هودي كلهم. تحط هالكتاب وتروح تمشي بالشارع بين عالم، يعني أنت بالنسبة لها أهنت لها مقدساتها، أوكي؟
يعني أنا واعي اللي عم تحكيه عادل. يعني يمكن حتى بقول لو قعدت بالحمام ما ظهرت وزربت حالي عندي نوع من التحدي، يعني بدي اتحدى، بدي ضل، هيدي ساحتي وهون هيدي رسالتي وانا عم فتش على وطن. صحيح بعتبر الحزب هو مشكله كبيره،
يمكن حتى وضعك الامني يكونش منيح، يمكن حدا يعني يعمل لك شيء يحطها بظهر حدا تاني، او حدا يكون متضرر، او تروح بشربة مي، يعني هذا موضوع انت وخاصة وضع هلا متأزم كتير والى اخره.
Paradoxically, it is when I reached the first circle of Hezbollah that I was going to walk away. For a great part, the party of God turned to be nothing but basically an Iranian tool that had acknowledged violence as a mode of action. Iranians were not only in the training camps of Lebanon, but also at the very heart of the Shura Council, the decision-making apparatus of the party. I realized that Hezbollah could not be a regular political party, but rather an intel/military body with strict structure and orders from Iran. Those who pulled the strings were basically some Iranian officials of the highest ranks that had the final say. I learned when I was really inside the party that incident was carried out by members of the party, basically the head of the military resistance of the party, who happened to be an undergrad student at AUB, but did not make it to graduation, Mustafa Badruddin, known by the name of Dhul Fiqar. When the college hall was blown, he carried his decision to the Iranians and he promoted such an act, and he got the approvals, I guess, and then he did it. And then it was a sort of like Hezbollah had to deal with that. That's how it happens. Tehran's grip on Hezbollah became total with Nasrallah at the head of the party. But it was going to be hard to control men like Imad and Mustafa. The 80s attacks and hostage-taking were stripped of their initial goals and turned into achievements by themselves. The blast in the heart of AUB was also so far from the noble cause that we had fully embraced. From there on, I became obsessed with the dual purpose, releasing Hezbollah from the tight grip of Tehran and transforming it into a political party, a fruitless combat. What I asked for in this reform plan was to grant the moderates of Hezbollah room to discuss important decisions and take part in the decision-making process. At the same time, curb the influence of Mustafa and Imad so that to allow other voices within the party to have a proper representation. That was basically the plan, the main pillar of the plan that I gave to the Iranians. The person I had the contact with was named Rahimi. I asked him about his influence on the party, and he said, quote, "We are the ones that tell Sayyid Nasrallah what to do and what not to do." But unfortunately, with all the flattering that I heard from Rahimi and all the praise of my work and my input, he said that they cannot go on with what I suggested in the plan because Hezbollah has a different role than what I suggested, and it's, I quote, "It is God that is taking care of Hezbollah." To me, it was the end. And it was as if it's like a plant being taken off the soil from the roots to be planted, if possible, somewhere else. And it was really tough. I was not exposed to other religions after Hezbollah stole my childhood. And when I left Hezbollah, I wanted to explore those other religions, other paths to God. I decided to cross that bridge and embrace Christ's teachings, and I got entitled. I understand that what I did might be considered blasphemy, according to many, but this did not deter me. I wanted to go forward, and whereas I embraced Christ's teachings, I did not leave Islam.
Rami est venu chez moi un jour pour me dire je me sens beaucoup plus chrétien qu'autre chose. Je veux que vous soyez mon père spirituel. À partir de là, j'ai été un ami avec lui. Et il venait très souvent me voir comme ça, nous parlions ensemble. عندك منين؟
ايه شو اول شيء صغير بعدين بيكبر قعدوا سخن من الفرن. اوكي ما رح اقول لك شيء بين يديك.
أنا كم عليك؟
امبارح كنت عند الوالدة كلهم راضيين علي وداعميني ولكن بصمت وما بدي منهم أكثر من هيك. جدا جدا.
Moi j'étais intéressé par sa façon de voir les choses. Et surtout parce qu'il était dans le cadre du Hezbollah et qu'il était en train de lutter pour faire évoluer Hezbollah. Je pense qu'il y a beaucoup de qualités personnelles. Il y a beaucoup d'engagement. La principale critique, c'est qu'il est encore trop jeune et qu'il s'enthousiasme beaucoup et qu'il ne s'entoure pas suffisamment de personnes qualifiées et engagées avec lui. De sorte qu'il reste vraiment un peu trop seul. Être seul dans ce domaine-là, c'est une chose tellement impossible à réaliser.
I wanted to explore and embrace new things and meet new people and be part of that society. At the time, I kept the old politics to myself as part of this vow for secrecy that I gave my old fellows in Hezbollah. I didn't want anything to smear or to tingle or to tint this new attempt of mine to go and open up. And I thought it's gonna bring a lot of questions and it's gonna like create some distance between me and new people I wanna get to know. A dream, my American dream, becomes reality. Against all odds. Florida, land of the sun and the gators. Will this dream be shattered too? I do not want to be deprived from my memories anymore. All my past summed up and knocked on my mind. I didn't want to be labeled as an Arab or anything that has to do with the perpetrators of those actions. I just want to be like an American in my newly found world. And all of a sudden, somebody just stealing that from me. I was deported from the United States. I was working for a PhD in America, and when they found out about my past, the government wanted me to work for them, like some petty government agent. But I just couldn't do it. Accepting the US government's scheme would mean going back to Hezbollah and submitting my life to them all over again. Even if artificially, I couldn't go back to Hezbollah. I just want to be done with that phase of my life. All the way across the Atlantic Ocean, I couldn't rid myself of Hezbollah. How will I ever be able to escape him here in Lebanon? It'll never happen. Upon the assassination of Hariri, it was the same moment paying me a visit again. That moment that I had when I saw the atrocities of 9/11. And that day, after the killing of Hariri, the same persons, a picture of Mughniye, Badruddin, struck my mind, especially with Mustafa Badruddin, as if I was away from Hezbollah for about 8 to 9 years, but as if it was yesterday. I was with the party, and I just could imagine who pulled the trigger. Ironically, that evening I got a call from an old Hezbollah comrade. And he was like, Rami, keep quiet, keep silent, don't talk about anything, don't talk about this in front of anybody. It's for your own good.
Par intuition, dès le départ, nous savions qui était l'exécutant et nous devinions qui était derrière l'exécutant, le commanditaire. Systématiquement, le Hezbollah a refusé en Conseil des ministres, où nous avions des collègues du Hezbollah, d'abord d'accepter de poursuivre l'enquête internationale, ensuite de former un tribunal international, et que le groupe Mustafa Badruddin, qui était dans la mouvance de Imad Mourni et le chef des opérations extérieures du Hezbollah, le Hezbollah dit « ceux-ci sont des saints, personne ne peut les atteindre, nous ne les livrerons jamais, nous ne laisserons même pas qu'ils soient interrogés ».
With Hezbollah, one has to always look behind the scenes. There lays the art of reconciling contradictions, fighting occupation, but eventually perpetuating it, preaching democracy, but preparing to take over with force, bragging about a strong state, but weakening it. If, as citizens, we can all be equal and united by suffering, by tragedy and by war, can we not also be united through the road to salvation, a unified Lebanon? A Lebanon ahead is a Lebanon where everybody, regardless of background, is free and open to speak their mind. My Lebanon ahead is a revolution, a white revolution, an uprising that is both nonviolent and spontaneous. I seek a nation that embraces us all with no regards to our religious, political, or moral beliefs.
Somebody help me look for the queen? No? She might be hidden by the bees. Look at these bees. All looking, all exchanging smells. The same colony. If a bee from a different hive, because she has a different smell, comes by mistake and hits any of these colonies, she's dead. They kill her. They don't let any bee from a different hive come in. Trying to find a new hive, a more genuine, more human, more nationalistic hive. And that's where you've reached a lot of trouble in this journey. Religion and political structures tied up with religion, they are very powerful in making us feel that we're secure there. So those who dare to differ, and this is my journey, by the way, they are compromising this sense of security. Now, this is the challenge I want to get over, which is I need to find people thinking the same way. Yeah. Why should we fear?
Because there's so much, there's depth.
Don't start within you.
But there's, it's you, but you're in some system. It's not only religion, there's the whole system, there's the economic system.
So what? Systems, who made the systems? Who made? We made them, we can change them.
And we enslave ourselves, it's okay.
We can change them.
We change them to what? You want to change
to better systems. Follow your heart. Just do it. It's not, trust me, it's not hard. I believe in what I'm saying. I had the struggle. My only problem is I was like a voice in the wilderness. I want to find echo. You want to find echo. It's not hard. I mingle with a lot of people. We speak the same language. But when it comes to actions, I don't see nobody. Why? This is the fear that we need to shatter. This is the fear that keeps those thugs there. Manipulate us.
And portraying the picture of Nasrallah, an image of power and mystery for boosting confidence that overrides all the falsehood in whatever content he brings up. I cannot help but think of a totalitarian system, and at the heart of all that, the divine leader. His reign grows on ignorance and poverty and promises of afterworld compensations. With the party as invincible, the people are made to accept the most flagrant violations of reality. I would take my message further through my words. That's my arsenal. They have violence as their mode of action. I have only words, and words will prevail over the sword or the gunpowder they have. And I'm ready to take it wherever it needs me to be.